We are live.
We are live, okay. Hi there, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is Esoteric Hours. My name is Bradley Powers. This is Jim Andre, alien contactee, abductee, channeler, and healer. Hi, thank you for joining us, Jim. We've got no viewers at the moment. I'm just working on
Yeah,
it right
I'm
now.
glad to be here.
Mystery topic. Yeah, I like that. Right, so let's send this into Messenger.
Hi, Shannon Boomgard. We got Vic Makaroff and Nazarene is in the house.
Oh, well done. Yeah, thank you for joining us. It's a mystery topic today. We'll be discussing whatever you want to discuss, really.
Yeah, we're here to discuss any topic anybody has that they may want to confer about, and any questions anybody may have.
Yeah, the answers to your questions might lie here. You don't know.
So, Bradley, I hope you had a good rest.
I've been put to sleep. I have.
You should be all rested up for the next few days, I would think.
Yeah, I've been asleep since Friday. Do you know that? Wow.
I have to start calling you Rip Van Winkle.
Well, I was listening to a story about Rasputin. Are you familiar with him, Jim?
Yeah. My co-host, Rip Van Winkle. That's what I'm going to list you as on Out of the Box podcast.
Yeah, we'll have to do that again. We'll have to schedule that again.
Hi, Marianne.
Yeah, hi, Marianne Clark. Thank you for joining us. Rick Makarov, Shannon Boomgard. Pleasure to have you near us.
Yeah. Robert Humphrey says, have a great show, guys. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
Marianne Clark says, sorry I couldn't make today's live. I have the babies.
Oh. Oh, dear.
Hello, Nicole Lowe.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Like I say, hi there, Daisy, 10 Ponies. Thank you for joining us. It's been flimsy, the show today. We're in a hell of a mess.
We had technical difficulties with the scheduled broadcast, so we had to start a new broadcast here. So
I could barely hear you. I can hear you, but barely.
You can't hear me?
There's nothing I can do about that. Oh, what's that say? Oh, right, it's on mute. Yeah. Yeah, you can hear me on there, so that's good. Yeah. So I shared the messenger anyway.
Any viewers have any questions or want to suggest a topic or subject matter?
Any thoughts on the Hadron Collider, Jim?
Oh, you know my thoughts on that. Something they shouldn't be playing with.
Enhance the lives of mankind?
I don't know. I think we're heading in the wrong direction, to be honest with you. And I think that there's a very good chance that we may destroy ourselves if the extraterrestrials don't intervene to save man from man himself. And I don't necessarily think they're going to do it just to save us per se, but we've got technology today that can also affect them, so they're going to save their own butts at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, Daisy's giving us a compliment. She says, it's good to see you both. You look well and strapping today.
Yeah. I'm going to your feed on your timeline. Yeah, you've got the questions here.
Marianne
Yeah.
Clark says Bradley Powers asked her to be on Wednesdays, but you never contacted her.
Yeah, I apologise for that, Marianne. I don't know what happened. I couldn't even give you an answer. You're welcome to join us this Wednesday. We have quite a lot of guests, but they come at random. It's organising guests. They wish to appear on the show. Some make it, some don't, like tonight. And but you're welcome to appear. Please get in touch with me, Marianne. Jim enjoys your company. This is Marianne from Ghost House Paranormal, I believe. Is it?
Vic Makarov is asking, I have a question. When are aliens going to go public? And not just with the governments. Well, that's a hairy thing. Full disclosure has to be planned very carefully in order not to, create any havoc or fear or carnage in any way. Can you imagine what a massive worldwide UFO landing would look like and how scared people would be? So it's got to be done in a very, very well planned and diplomatic manner. And there's a lot involved, not only our government, but other alien species. I mean, it goes very deep.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Hi, Terry. Terry Sedlock is with us.
They haven't been officially gone to public, although they walk amongst us. They aliens are hybrids, clones.
Daisy Ten Pony says they would deem them Christ, I think. Well, I think that's where most of, the Egyptians and all that got the idea of chariots of the gods and all that stuff when they seen the UFOs, coming down, and they had the island of Atlantis. And of course, that's how the pyramids were built, not only in Egypt, but four corners of the world, all at the same time, where there's no communications or anything that could justifiably be used as construction equipment to build the pyramids. So therefore, they had to be built with the help of the extraterrestrials.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all. That's right. I found your forum's a bit different than mine. Yeah.
Shannon Boomgard says she agrees.
Yeah, please excuse us today. We've had loads of technical difficulties to start with, and let's put us down on things. But although we are broadcasting, so that's a good news. Oh dear. Look, my tie was straight. Jim didn't even tell me. Marianne Clark says, what's your thoughts on a paranormal aspect of things? When arrival on a location, should you already know about the activity and do research, or just walk into it blind and work on your own experience? Well, paranormal aspects of things. Well, we've arrived on location here on Esoteric Hours without scheduling or not, and we're how would they say it? We're winging it. And where this actually corresponds with thoughts on a paranormal aspect of things is when you arrive on a location, you should wing it. Follow your intuition. Your intuition is a compass to the soul. When on arrival on a location, should you already know about the activity? You should really, and you should do your research, and you should also walk into it blind and work on your own experience. The answer is correct. That's how me and Jim have learned, by walking into situations blind and actually working on it from our own experience.
Technically, we're existing in a random realm anyway. Everything is basically random.
Oh. Well, thank you for raising that, Daisy 10 Ponies, because I have a story to share on Esoteric Hours. I have a story to share about something paranormal. Something paranormal happened during my Ouija board session, and it relates to Jim Andre. Before we went on the show, Jim Andre asked me something. What was it you asked me, Jim?
Well, I was on Messenger with you, a video chat, and you said you were about to do a Ouija board session. And when you told me that, I got the name Jeremy. Remember, I asked you who Jeremy was. You said you didn't know.
You asked me, my brother, and my sister-in-law who Jeremy was, and we didn't know who he was on about, Jim.
Yeah. So then tell them what happened as you did the Ouija board.
Yeah. So what happened was, hi there, David Nash. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for raising the question, Daisy 10 Ponies, because we wanted to mention this and we forgot about it. And this is well worth mentioning, this information. So as Jim Andre said, he said, I feel the name Jeremy coming through. And none of us three, well, four of us actually, none of us four knew who the name Jeremy was. We said, sorry, Jim, we don't know a Jeremy. So anyway, we went ahead with the Ouija board, and later on, the Ouija board spout out a name in letters on the Ouija board. And the name in letters that the Ouija board spout out was Jeremy. So a spirit called Jeremy was coming through the Ouija board, and the name, that was exactly the same name as who Jim Andre had mentioned, was Jeremy. How about that?
That was before you even started the session, right? Marianne Clark says she had experience with the Ouija spirit communication board. Yeah, I believe it's safe to do so, as long as you do it in a manner that's, in a certain way you can protect yourself from evil spirits.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, David Nash. Hi there, Terry Sedlock. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you all near us. It really is. Nicole Lowe. Yes, a pleasure to have you near us.
Marianne Clark says awesome stuff.
So I'll say that again. Jim said to me, do you know the name Jeremy? And before we began the Ouija board, we said no. All four of us didn't know who a Jeremy was. And during the actual procedure of the Ouija board, maybe half hour into it, the name was spelled out Jeremy, and that was exactly the name that Jim had actually responded with us to.
Yeah, that's kind of like paranormal stuff that I experienced, and I don't go into that. I don't practice that, but like for some reason, every once in a while, something will just come through to me, and
the reason why you can't see Marianne's comments, David Nash, is because Jim is broadcasting on his timeline. I'm broadcasting on mine, and you're connected to my timeline and not Jim's. Marianne Clark is showing up on Jim's timeline.
Yeah, we don't get the full, text here in this chat box on the platform we're using.
Yeah. I just shared it to Esoteric. Yeah, so that's the reason why you can't see Marianne's comments, is because she's in a different forum.
Marianne Clark says, I talked to a little boy named Tommy. He died in a fire that his dad started. He is scared being on the other side by himself.
Wow.
Terry Sedlock said, watch a show last night about Ouija boards, demons that came through live on camera. I won't mention the name, but his name starts with a Z.
Said. Wow. Wow. Marianne Clark says, I talked to a little boy named Tommy. He died in a fire that his dad started. He is scared being on the other side by himself.
I just read that question a minute ago. Terry Sedlock says,
where did you get that on the
this series last night blew my mind, she says. She said the name was Zoe.
Okay. No.
Is that Zoe?
Well, thank you.
There you go. You can read that one, Bradley. I put another one up.
Daisy 10 Ponies. Yeah, I don't know where you're getting that from. I've got it on here. Once, when I was a teenager, we used a Ouija and contacted a lost child. I researched it, and a 3-year-old boy died in a train track accident right behind my house. He lived on my farm. How about that? Daisy 10 Ponies shared that.
Yeah.
Wow. How about that? That's astonishing. Ouija boards do work, and I did give them validation. One should, when using a Ouija board, burn a white candle. Also, you can add additions to that by burning some incense, like frankincense and myrrh, even, as well as there's other essences that you could burn. A quartz crystal also helps to place upon the board or the corner of the board. And salt, even. There's quite a few things you can actually add to offer you protection during the.
Yeah, well, Marianne Clark says I put down powder and light a candle on the table. He put his fingerprints in the powder. Wow, that's pretty wild. Yeah, I use white candles when I do the Ouija board.
Wow. Yeah, Marianne Clark says she is sorry, David Nash, that you cannot see her comments. Yeah, so basically Terry was saying the series she watched about Ouija boards blew her mind. David Nash says, did you all see the story of how the James Webb telescope pictures are proving the Big Bang never happened? I love it. No, I haven't actually watched the James Webb telescopic pictures proving the Big Bang never happened. I haven't seen that, David Nash, and that's an astonishing discovery. The Big Bang never happened. From what I understand, the universe is a circle, and circle had no beginnings and no end. That's what the occult actually suggests as well.
Yeah, Marianne Clark says, yes, always white candles, referring to the Ouija board.
David Nash says that a 3-year-old couldn't write or spell out letters. So there's a question there, isn't there? How does it work? Well, how it works is this. Even though a 3-year-old couldn't write or spell, is it possible that a 3-year-old could in the next life? We don't know, do we? It looks like it's possible, although we can't. It's debatable, isn't it, really? I mean, how do you gain evidence? How do you obtain evidence? Well, Daisy 10 Ponies knows what she's talking about. And like, she can only present to you the truth. She's on my team. She's one of Bradley's angels. So her words are binding. And if that's what she said happened, I actually believe her. Haha. So you have to consider those points of view. There's food for thought for you. Daisy's words are binding. And she says a 3-year-old spout out his name. So you have to take that into consideration as well. David Tempone says, yes, to think he was lost broke my heart. It was a scary experience.
Daisy's also asking, do we transcend age?
Well, I have encountered quite a few spirits, and they look the same as when they crossed over. They weren't younger or older. They were how I remembered them. It was how they presented themselves to me.
In other words, she's asking, do we transcend age when we die?
We get wiser. If we seek ascension, we do become wiser.
Marianne
And
Clark is asking if we're on two different pages. We're on YouTube and a few pages on Facebook.
we are
So, some of them pages aren't going to come through with the comments on StreamYard. Some do and some don't.
on Jim Entree's timeline on Facebook, and we're on Bradley Power's timeline on Facebook. Ha 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 ha! We are playing a double game. We are broadcasting on YouTube. We're broadcasting in a few places, in Esoteric Hours and in Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers Prophecy on Messenger and Esoteric Family on Messenger. Steve Parr said, I have forgotten an item that you can add to your Ouija board when you begin your session. You can add graveyard dirt, graveyard earth to your Ouija board session before you begin, which is very true, Steve. I agree with you. And I just forgot to mention it because there's so many things you can add, so many items that can actually offer you protection.
An interesting place and area to do the Ouija board is in a cemetery.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that what Marianne Clark says about the spirits can put fingerprints in the powder or the salt.
Yeah,
in the powder.
Cool. Yeah.
Marianne Clark says yes, always white candle. And yes, do we transcend to his age? I guess we do. However, we are presented to the person who channels us, or they channel us, or we channel them. They present themselves as a familiar figure that we are familiar with.
David Nash says, "Oh God, if I live in old age and die, and am stuck forever looking old and gray, I like the theory that everyone in heaven is around 18." Nazarene is asking, can you guys read the future? If so, can I ask a specific question? I get things that come to me out of the blue that I don't seek. So I don't think I'd be able to answer the question. I don't know about Bradley.
I can't read the future, although I had a premonition we was going to have technical issues before the show, so I don't know if that's the same thing.
Marianne Clark wants me to tell David Nash. She says hello. David Nash, Marianne Clark says hello.
Yeah, David Nash says maybe in the afterlife we keep learning. Absolutely correct, I would say. We get wiser. And what I've discovered, I don't know about, well, no, it's different with me, is I've discovered from spirits that they don't like to talk politics. They don't like to tell you where they are, their location. There's a few subjects that they do not discuss. They don't discuss God.
Well, everything that they leave behind here probably up, on the other side at that point is irrelevant anyway.
David Nash says angels always look beautiful and around 21. Yeah, I can't deny that.
Terry Sedlock says, try asking her. She has premonitions.
Try asking me. Yeah, I have premonitions. Yeah. Well, share your premonitions, Terry. Your premonitions are always welcome. David E. Temponi says, oh, Shannon Boomgard. Yeah, her premonitions are always welcome too.
So, Nazarene, what was the question you had?
Aha, Marianne Clark has switched forums. She's now in your forum, Jim. Yeah.
you're still with us, Nazarene, Terry Sedlock said she may be able to answer your question.
Marianne Clark says, I'm here. Hi there, Marianne Clark. Sorry about Wednesday, Marianne. We'll have to put that right and get you on the show. I'll sort that out. Oh, Christy and Jim McFarlane. Jim McFarlane is it? What's up, fellows? Hi there, Jim.
How you doing, Jim?
Joining us, Jim and Christy.
Okay, Terry Sedlock, Nazarene is asking, will my immigration process provincial nomination be a success?
Oh, that's a psychic question, though. Well, I wish you luck with your immigration process and your provincial nominations, Nazarene. I wish you luck. I'm not a psychic and I don't claim to be one, although I have had psychic abilities at random. I'm not in full control of it. Because I'm not in full control of my psychic abilities, I don't claim to be a psychic. And that is that reason why. But you need, if you spoke to a psychic, a full-time psychic who's in touch and in control of their abilities, they might be able to offer you some guidance. Yeah. Yeah, being psychic is premonitions and predictions. You know, like Nostradamus, philosopher, was he psychic too? Makes you wonder.
Marianne Clark is answering Naz. Make sure all your paperwork is updated.
There you go. There's some pair of advice from Marianne Clark. Nazarene, make sure all your paperwork is updated. Daisy Temponi says, blessed be Nazarene.
Here's a question for you, Bradley, if you want to read it off.
Yeah, Jim McFarlane says, Brad, where was you the other night? You was missing in action. Did you get abducted and probed? No, I wasn't maybe as lucky as Jim.
Well, I think you did, Brad. I think you did.
Yes.
I think you did, Bradley. You just don't recollect.
I was abducted, yeah. I've been abducted since Friday, actually, by an entity, a living spiritual entity who abducted me and put me to sleep in a coma for 3 days. I managed to wake up for a couple of hours for Tiffany's show, and then he put me back to sleep again. Tiffany's Tarot. Yeah, my apologies for your show, Jim. I wasn't in control.
Well, that's okay. Jim McFarlane came give me a hand.
And yeah, I know you did. Yeah,
thank you again for that, Jim.
Yeah, man. Well, it's a pleasure to have you all near us on Esoteric Hours. We've reigned quite a few years, you know, this show has, when you really think about it. And like, admittedly, we were big time once. We will get back in that slot again, hopefully in the very near future. Terry Sedlock says, yeah, I have good feelings. Sorry, Jim, you're going to read that.
Yeah, she's answering now, Nazarene. Yeah, I have good feelings, but though I can't promise, I'm still feeling out my abilities. But let's just say this. I feel good vibes. She feels good vibes about you getting your what you're waiting for, Nazarene.
Jim McFarlane says excuses are like I'll say it. Excuses are like arseholes, Bradley. I don't make excuses. Excuses are like that. I guess you are right, Jim. But I wouldn't like to say I'll make excuses, you know, to be honest. Excuses, that's not an excuse. That's paranormal phenomena.
Again, this is in answer to Nazarene. Marianne Clark is saying the process of your journey will have an issue with something on that paperwork. Please read and reread before handing it in.
You're not smoking a lot tonight, are you, Jim? This is quite amazing. Maybe if I like one, you will. Excuse me while I do a roll up. Perform a roll up. Excuse me while I have a fag.
What you
I
rolling?
like saying that. That means something else.
Are you rolling regular tobacco there, Bradley?
Yeah. Yeah.
You sure? You sure? That's not wacky tobacco, right? No.
Wacky tobacco. Yeah. I tried wacky tobacco when I was about 17, 18 for a little while, and it just didn't really used to mong me out. I don't like being monged out.
Daisy 10 Pony says you guys got to quit that combustible stuff. Vape. She said that we should vape instead. From what I understand,
sorry.
Yeah, from what I understand, that's not good for you either. So they claim. I don't know.
You know why vape is not good for you, Jim? It's because it gives you popcorn lung, and popcorn lung is irreversible and uncurable. Popcorn lung is uncurable, whereas cancer is. Well, I don't know about your lungs. Turmeric might help you with your lungs. Me and Jim don't smoke vape, Daisy.
Yeah, and David Nash also says popcorn lung. So you better look into that, Daisy. You think vaping is safe? It may not be.
We have a confession from the audience, and it is public now. Jim McFarlane says he's been smoking wacky backy for years. That's public. David Temponi says the dangerous stuff is in the vapes. Jim McFarlane says vape is worse than cigarettes. I agree with that. Although you wouldn't know that, would you? Unless you were told.
Terry Sedlock says you're right. Part of smoking is that you stink. I don't want to stink, LOL. But I use my vape too, but should use it all the
time. Terry Sedlock, it's okay to smoke vape, but at random. I wouldn't, if you was a compulsive smoker, vape might not be the best direction, because popcorn lung is, I believe it's a statement of fact, is it's uncurable, it's irreversible. I would actually suggest, Terry, that you research vape and popcorn lung and make up your own mind. We're not really a good advert for smoking, are we, me and Jim?
I've been smoking for, let's see, I'll be 69 next month. Be 53 years.
Marianne says, I call bullshit. Marianne Clark says that, but first of all, we don't swear on this show, Marianne. You probably didn't know this. So I'll allow it.
Bradley, bite your tongue.
And what are you referring to, Marianne? Like that's a new phenomenon on this show, because we don't talk that kind of language, and we actually don't talk that kind of subject either. All of our subjects are relevant. Most of it's researchable.
Jim McFarlane says he has to smoke wacky tobacco to put him up with the world's stupid people.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah. Jim has to smoke wacky backy, put up with the world's stupid people. Well, I can't argue with that, can I? There are a few about, mostly sleepwalkers and sheep, and also those who lead the show. This is a pantomime that we live in. We have to bear that in mind. Jim, we live in a pantomime. Haven't you worked that out yet?
Pantomime, yeah. Everything is an illusion.
Kathleen Boyle says, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Kathleen Boyle. And also, who else has just joined us? Julie Ann Guthrie Smolson says, thank you for joining the show. When you vape and are a tough guy, you'll smell like strawberry shortcake. Right?
Well, we have a newbie here. Hey, I'm a newbie. Kirsty Cook. Hi, Kirsty.
Hello, I'm a Newberry. Hi there, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. You're showing me comments that are not in the forum.
Well, a lot of the comments don't come through where I can see them, but do you have another device?
Ben E.C. Trent would like to say hello. He is watching the show. However, he's unable to comment. Hi there, Benny. Thank you for joining us. Yes, a pleasure to have you near us. Sorry you can't comment at this moment in time. He's being censored.
Terry Sedlock says, I know I just got a scan done. I was petrified. I thought I had cancer. All clear so far. Phew.
Oh, well done. Well done, Terry. Pleased to hear
that's
that.
good news. That's good news. Yep.
I'm glad that it's all clear so far. Woo! Whoop whoop. Daisy 10 Pony says, welcome, newbie. That's okay, Marion Clark. It's not a problem. It's just that Esoteric Hours is about intellectual intellect being shared with diplomacy. That's what it's all about. Terry Sedlock replied to Daisy, says, so you're a vapor caper, a superhero. Absolutely, says Daisy. Yeah, I was going to go down the road of vape, but I changed my mind when I found out about popcorn heart. Nothing wrong with the devil's lettuce, says Mike Stapia. Nothing wrong with the devil's lettuce. The devil's lettuce or God's weed? Yeah, thank you for joining the show, Kathleen Boyle. Yeah, so Jim McFarlane is a wacky backy merchant. Wow. You learn something new every day in this game. Marianne Clark says, you can smack me with the ruler, Jim Andre, for misbehaving. With the ruler? I can't hear you now, Jim.
I'll make a note of that, Marianne.
I remember getting the cane at school for playing truant in my senior school, my high school. Often. Yeah, I can't do that now, though, can they? So, yeah, so Jim has shared his thoughts on the Hadron Collider.
Huh?
David Nash says, devil's lettuce is legal in many states now. Only took 75 years. Well, in this country, in England, in Wales and Scotland, it's not legal. Unless prescribed by the doctor. I think you're allowed to have 3 plants, but no more than that, because that is distribution.
Yeah, medical marijuana, yeah.
Hi there, Beck Birdie. Thank you for joining the show.
Hi, Beck Birdie.
I got to admit, me and Jim love your name.
Definitely different, no doubt about that.
Terry Sedlock is having problems hearing us.
Daisy 10 Pony says, I don't smoke, but we had a grow room for many years. I'm pro devil's lettuce.
Yeah, I've been invited to grow marijuana, but I have declined because I'm not a stoner. Oh, here's some hardcore questions coming our way, Jim. Daisy tends. Oh, Marianne Clark says, Jim, how many species of aliens are there?
Oh, there are many. Wouldn't claim to know all of them, but there's probably at least 60 something different species.
I could say that there's that the KGB wrote a book called Aliens, which is available on Amazon, which lists between I'm sure it's over 80 different species of aliens and extraterrestrials, and they have presentations by these aliens and extraterrestrials detailing what their purpose in life is, why they are here, and stuff like that. Aliens are species of aliens who don't frequent Earth, but they do exist, and extraterrestrials are species that do frequently come to Earth, or maybe reside on this planet, or in the stars, on the moon, or reside underneath the oceans, underneath the surface of the Earth. And from what I'm aware, there's definitely over 100 different species of extraterrestrials and aliens. Over a
Yeah.
hundred.
When you're talking when you're talking an endless universe, there's hundreds of different species, more than likely. Marianne Clark is asking, have you heard of the grays? Yes, there's tall grays and short grays. The tall grays aren't so good. They don't have our best interests in mind. The short grays are all right. Those are the ones who I'm in contact with, the Zeta Reticula, the short grays.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, Jim actually channels the short greys from the Zeta Reticuli. He's actually in contact with them. And yeah, like he said, the tall greys are unsavory and they're not empathic. Well, I was short greys empathic. They're not empathic either, are they, Jim?
No, they don't. They don't feel emotion, but they have different. They have different missions for different reasons, I guess.
I've encountered an extraterrestrial for about 10 seconds at the most, but I reckon it was 5 seconds. And I know that she was a feminine extraterrestrial, and I believe either her cloaking device failed on her, and which made her presence visible to me, her manifestation, or she wanted me to see her, and hence the reason why I saw her. But the truth is, of all the extraterrestrials I'm familiar with, I've never seen her kind before, her species, so I couldn't put a name to her, to be honest. Yes, and greys. That's a very good point, actually. David Nash says many greys have grey suits that make them look grey, but they're not really grey. Also, the big black eyes are lenses that actually can be removed.
Well, a lot of them can shapeshift too, so.
And they can shapeshift too. Good point, Jim.
Yeah, Terry Sedlock says she smokes medical marijuana, but honestly, it doesn't do much for her anymore. She barely touches it. It gives her heartburn. Marianne Clark says my story goes back way back.
My window are not actually grey; they're actually brownish greenish comments. I'm not sure what colours that would be, but they almost look great.
Well, that could be the reflection of the light, and it being at night, maybe they looked like a different color than they actually were.
Beck Birdie says there are up to 127 species, I believe, hybrids included. I would say, Beck Birdie, the figure is limitless to how many actually do exist. Although, if you're saying that we're aware of 127 species, I could believe that, and that includes hybrids as well. I can believe that, Beck Birdie. Although the true figure is, like Jim said earlier, I mean, it's limitless, really. We're living in a universe, then you've got the multiverse, and then you've got the different realms, interdimensional, multidimensional. You have to take these other realms into consideration. You couldn't really count the amount of extraterrestrials and aliens that exist. We couldn't count them, but we are aware of, as you say, from your research, allegedly 127 species, which I find that feasible.
Jim McFarland says, Bradley, aliens and extraterrestrials are one and the same.
The difference between an alien and an extraterrestrial is aliens don't frequent the planet of Earth. Extraterrestrials are familiar with Earth. They reside underneath the the surface of the Earth, underneath the oceans, which we know more about the moon than we do about the oceans on Earth. Extraterrestrials reside in the stars, moon, and other planets, and they frequent this planet, whereas aliens never come and visit us, although they do exist. David Nash says, man named Jonathan Reed in '96 came across a grey and his craft. He took pictures and videos that took the injured alien to his house thinking it was dead, put it in his freezer. He took close-up pics. It's a crazy story. Pics and vids are on YouTube and it's very believable. Wow. I didn't know that.
I'd like to see that, David, if you could send me a link to the videos.
I can believe that story, very much so. Well, you got the Roswell crash. You have to take that into consideration. Allegedly, there were 7 beings on the Roswell crash spaceship, and 5 of them were perished. One of them was severely wounded, and one of them was alive. And what happened was the one that was severely wounded actually died sometime later, and the one that was living, they interrogated and died later. Or maybe he didn't die, you know.
Vic Makarov is asking, is it true that the Greys are hybrids? Yeah, well, they're also, I think they're clones. They're all clones of themselves, actually. And they don't really feel emotion like we do.
And Jim Mike Mathani says, at the end of the day, they created all of us humans. And when you say they, you're referring to all species. And I don't think that all the species created us. I reckon some did. Yeah, Marianne Clark says the corridor to terrestrial living will be available to us soon. The corridor, as we will be neighbours. Yeah, that's feasible. It's inevitable, I guess. Do you want to read that one, Jim?
Terry Sedlock is asking, does anyone believe in the black and white footage of the alien that was confiscated from the crash of Roswell? Yeah, I believe that's original footage.
A story I heard, Jim, relating to the short grays was they are actually they outlived their creators by millennia. Yeah, regarding the black and white footage of the alien that was confiscated from the crash in Roswell, that's feasible. It actually became public from a whistleblower, and then it was confiscated. So that is very feasible. David Nash says, supposedly the Roswell aliens were taken to Dayton, Ohio, to a biolab. Recently, whistleblowers have sent the pictures to some people like Linda Moulton. How and they are on her website. Yeah, Moulton Howe, and they are on her website. Wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, Linda Moulton Howe's been a researcher for many years.
Terry Sedlock says, yes, Bradley, exactly. The live alien actually died about 5 years later, from what I hear. Thank you for sharing that, Terry. I wasn't sure of the lifespan that that alien actually had, although my what I'm sharing with you is all debatable, as is everything. But I actually believe that, like, what my theory is actually correct in from research and other sources, that yeah, at 7 were on the 7 beings were on the Roswell crash. 5 perished, 1 survived, and there was 1 wounded, which died soon time afterwards.
Beck Birdie says there was 3 crash sites.
Wow. And the government said they were weather balloons. Jim McFarlane. Oh, right. Terry Sedlock says, yes, when people got wind that they were at Patterson Air Force Base, they moved the bodies elsewhere. Like I hear nobody knows about where they were or are, where they took them. Thank you for sharing that, Terry. Jim McFarlane says they created everything, including religion, and religion is the biggest brainwashing on this planet.
David Nash says Linda Moulton Howe says the grays are actually a bit more white with an orange hue to their skin, as with the ones in Roswell. Vic Makarov is asking whether a mixture of alien species on the Roswell crash. I don't believe so. Not as far as I'm knowledgeable about.
I believe the species were greys, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they were all the same species, gray species. I believe they were the short grays, the Zeta reticula.
Yeah, short grays, yeah. And possibly brought down by sound waves or the, oh God, what's the name of that they use? They've got a weapon, like CERN would use. I can't even remember the name of it right now. That's a shame. I'd like to have shared that with you. They have a weapon that gives off sound waves, frequency, and sound frequencies that can actually bring down spaceships. And they had that at the Roswell crash as well. They brought down that spaceship. Did it crash or was it brought down by these sound waves? Jew, thank you so much, Daisy Temponies. It was a Jew weapon, a directed energy weapon. That's the name I was trying to think of. Thank you, Daisy Temponies. I really appreciate that. I was just trying to sit in here wrecking my brain trying to think of it. Jew is a directed energy weapon, and it can actually bring down spaceships, I believe. This directed energy weapon, and I reckon it has brought down a few spaceships, because in theory, spaceships don't crash. I mean, why would they? Frequently, well, Jew weapons, a directed energy weapon would bring down a spaceship. So it makes you wonder. Cesar Technology, says David Nash. David Nash says probably the same technology they mounted the steel of the Twin Towers with. David Nash says, according to Linda's whistleblowers, the bodies were moved to an underground biolab at Wright-Patterson, so nobody in the know would know. So the stories of them being moved somewhere else were false.
You know, I think Russia has a similar weapon, and that's the only country I think in the world that has it. It's called a weapon of indignation.
Vic Makarov says, I read and heard that radar brought them down in Roswell, or a Jew weapons, which is similar to radar, only radar detects. What about, are you familiar with this, Jim? When radar detected 3 gigantic spaceships above Texas, 3, and they were miles long, 3 of them. By radar, they detected them, but you couldn't actually see them.
Huh. I never heard about that.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, Jim. Maybe a couple of years ago or less. Jim McFarlane says, I believe the spaceships crash. Our weapons are no match for them. They are so advanced than us. Well, actually, the military are 40, 50 miles ahead of us in technology. Like, from what I understand, the military already are using 10G right now, and we are using 5G. You'd be amazed. Like, their dual weapons are well advanced, you know, and so I think it's feasible that it's possible that they could have brought down spaceships with the dual weapons of warfare.
Daisy says she lit some incense for our little crowd.
Thank you, Daisy. Daisy says, do you mean scalar technology?
David Nash says a lot of these high-tech weapons crafts fool many, thinking they are extraterrestrial UFOs, and I think the government plays around with it too, with holograms, to be honest with you.
Well, we're coming up to nearly an hour, Jim. I don't know what you want to do.
Yeah, we got a couple of minutes left.
Okay. I wish to thank everybody for watching. Jim McFarlane, Vic Makarov, Bobby Stoykeski, thank you for joining us. Kathleen Boyle, Marianne Clark. Hi there, Bobby Stoykeski from Australia, the land of convicts. Thank you, Daisy 10 Ponies.
Marianne Clark says, I have always told my mom Elvis was taken by the Greys. I have been saying it because I do believe I have seen the shadowish hologram. I want to thank everybody for joining. It looks like Bradley is froze up there. So we're at the top of the hour. We're going to end the broadcast. See you again next time.